Now I know Lysistina and Fire Orvale is the talk of the town right now, but there is still one ReZero character that we need to show off, and that is the girl Rim. She's unfortunately the last one that we're gonna do, and I actually think this character is pretty okay. I think she's actually really strong whenever you can utilize her niche, but for the most part, I think she's just overall a very solid defensive unit, and I kind of want to see what we can do today. Also, by the way, we'll be using my boy Caleb's Ram today, so huge shout out to him for allowing me to do this. And here she is, the girl Ram. Now, Ram's whole gimmick is that she's just pretty much a very defensive unit, and her entire kit is just based around that. We have her unique passive here that gives her art gauge based on the amount of luck whenever the quest starts. So this is 8 automatic 120 arts just instantaneously. We have her skill, it's able to reduce the enemy's attack. We have an art that is kind of confusing if you don't know what this means. Reduce all allies damage from weak element enemies by 50% and increase all allies freeze resist by 100%, and you recover from freeze. Now the way how this works is that let's say you're running an all earth team, then if you're fighting a water unit and you use this art, this gives you more damage resist towards that water boss because it is a weak element enemy and it's going to make you tank even more than what you're already going to be tanking. She's actually extremely good against certain compositions like that, or against, like, you know, water fights or wherever you want to use her. You could even opt in to use this character in certain comps where, let's say you're using someone like Volti LR and he's earth and fighting a water boss, you could just use Ram on there for this defensive passive alone, and it's going to benefit you so freaking much. Another thing is to point out too is that this character is going to be very, very strong later on down the line whenever we get something like Summoner's Road, because Summoner's Road is extremely difficult, and she's one of the most used characters in the Water Summoner's Road. So do not sleep on this art. It may not come up all the time, but it will come up, and when it does, I'm telling you, it's just going to make any fight that you go up against super easy. Next is going to be her True Art. Her True Art is just a barrier, and she gets more of a barrier based on her own defense. I don't know exactly how much this is. I don't know if it's a 1-to-1 ratio or how exactly they do it, but just know the more defense you have on this character, the larger the barrier you're going to have. In terms of her slots, she has some pretty good stuff here. A 5-star magic, 5-star defense, and a 4-star support. If you opt in for the True Weapon, this will give her a 20% defense buff, and whenever she activates her True Art, it does increase her art gauge by 30. If you don't really care too much about having that large of a barrier and you want just more arch gen, you can go something like Alma's Hat, Victor's Catsuit, or Exceed Zex as always. For the 5-star defense, is very situational, just whatever you're fighting, you just want to make sure you're countering that kind of damage. And then for the 4-star support, we're going to be rocking stuff like Finn Aloha shorts to go some equipment CT plus arch gen, or you can rock something like Arc Ignite or even Keon. And in terms of her crest, what we're looking at here, I'm thinking defense up, equipment CT down, maybe attack up if you want to hit a little bit harder, or even art gauge up to kind of help her get into that true art even faster. Any of those, and I think you're going to be vibing. And of course, my man Caleb came through with the animations, so let's see what these are all about right here. I wonder if they're going to be similar to Rim at all, but there is the attack. I already like the attack animation a lot more, kind of like the earth little wave or whatever, vibe with it. We have the skill looks nice, little like air tornado type thing happening. Like it, I like it. The art, okay, a little bit of a charge up and then a slice, it's all right, you know what I mean? It's okay. It's very fast though, so I'll give it that. And then the true art, huge tornado with a slice. That's it. I would say this is kind of how I feel about all the ReZero characters. I think all their animations are anywhere from like a 6 to like a 7. I don't think they really are that great, just because they're so old. I wish that they would add a little bit more flair to them. At least they're kind of quick, so they're pretty practical whenever you need them. But yeah, I would like to be looking at something crazy sometimes, man. So this is the team we're actually gonna be running today, and yeah, we're just gonna kind of see how this does. She's gonna be the main defensive unit on the team, while we have the Leon and the Haruto kind of keeping everyone alive. So as you see here, we can pop her True Art instantly to give us that massive barrier, which is going to be great. We definitely want to utilize that as much as possible. You know, it's kind of crazy, even though this is a longer type of fight, because we are going up against the Crest Palace here, I feel like it's still so hard to get Earth Rosetta to actually pop off. We can pop this True Art again to give us a barrier again, and we actually still had a barrier. I didn't even notice it was still there, so we just refreshed it, and yeah, that barrier is lasting for a while. Lots of survivability here, and it kind of sucks because whenever you use characters like these, especially in like showcases, or this is more so a thing that I've noticed whenever I do these showcases, whenever you use a character that's very defensive like, I feel like sometimes it's hard to really tell like what they're doing for the team because they're so defensive. They're not really a very offensive type of unit, so it does kind of suck when we get to that, because if we pop this, and this, I'm pretty sure this character, or this boss, is practically going to die to Earth Rosetta. Oh, wait, never mind. I severely overestimated her damage. As you see, we're doing tons of deeps, and what can you expect? Lots of survivability on this character. 4+? It ain't never gonna happen, man. But lots of survivability on this character. I just wish that I could show her off against something that would actually help her. And wow, she actually kept up in terms of the damage department. Yeah, but like I was saying, I wish that I could fight a boss that was here right now, there was like maybe a water ball so I could really utilize her art. But yeah, I don't want to take her up against this type of stuff to cry the Azure Rocks and all that, because I mean, these are giant bosses. These guys will just melt instantly to pretty much any type of damage in the game. And unfortunately, I can't do the Earth Ruins or anything like that either, since we are having to borrow somebody's RAM. So yeah, I think we're just out of luck in terms of using her art and trying to utilize her gimmick to like a very high degree. All in all, if I had to put it simple, Ram is just a very solid defensive character. Unfortunately, there's just not enough stuff in the game at the moment that I am able to show her off against to really show you how strong she can actually be. I'm telling you, if you're fighting like in the mines, or if you're fighting like Summoner's Road in the future, and you need to tank a lot of damage that you have type advantage against, you bring someone like Ram, and she's gonna make your damage resist skyrocket. So much so where there's some fights where you probably don't even need to use another defensive equip because that 50% damage res is so potent. Either way though, thank you all for coming out. It's been your boy P. And oh yeah, one more thing. Don't forget to drink water.